followed by the pledge by Cal.
Join me, please. Father, we come to you this morning in thanksgiving and gratitude for just allowing us to wake up this morning. We ask you to be in this room as we make decisions not only for our customers, but for the betterment of our community. Help our minds to be clear, fair, and understanding as we go through the business of the Spalding County Water Authority. All these things we ask in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, thank you.
No curse words.
We have no citizen comments. We're going to skip right over that and go to the next item, minutes.
Mr. Chairman, they appear to be in order. Unless somebody has any additions or corrections, I move they be approved as presented.
I got a motion. I got a second from Clay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Next item, financial report. Consider acceptance of the financial report period ended April 30th as presented by the Director of Accounting and Finance.
Mr. Chairman, we ask that we postpone this for just a few moments because our Director of Accounting and Finance is on the phone with our auditors.
Joseph, you got anything you'd like to add on that?
Nope.
Or we need to amend the agenda again? Or do we
No,
move on?
just move on, we'll come back.
All right. We're going to move on to the next item, General Manager Report. Consider acceptance of the General Manager Report as presented by General Manager Johnson.
So the customer summary report you're looking at, we're still running at a year-over-year percent change of an increase in customer base of approximately 2.5%. The water sales, everything is tracking along, and it looks like we're going to finish the year at around 5% over our budget expectations. Non-revenue water, everything it's just for informational purposes. Meter sales, we are seeing a little bit of uptick in April's meter sales versus March. So I was getting a little nervous that we were kind of flattening out, but we're picking back up on some steam. And then the fire hydrant maintenance summary, you're going to see this report is actually a report that was ran as of last Friday, and we're showing that we're going to complete the fire hydrant maintenance sometime in June now. So, yeah, our team is, no, this is a calendar year, so this is from January to June. So our team is doing a great job.
Yeah.
So that means that we're, by the end of our fiscal year, we will have touched every hydrant?
By the end, yes. So
Cool.
by the end of, well, actually, what's funny is in fiscal year '24, we would have actually done it 2 times. So here's the thing. This is on a calendar year, not a fiscal year.
Okay.
So what our plan is, once we finish the fire hydrant maintenance, then we move into valve exercising. Then we move into raising fire hydrants that may be half buried. We get into other functions that we can start getting into.
Are our guys, and when I say our guys, your guys, they're qualified to do all these different things you just said, like lowering the hydrant or raising the hydrant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So you're going to have them all complete in 6 months.
Yes.
Awesome.
So some of the things that we've kind of been lacking on are valve exercising. So you remember I told you in the beginning, we were going to start incorporating valve exercising into the fire hydrant maintenance. Well, that was my wise idea. Our staff kind of said, that may not be a good thing because valve exercising on year 1 is going to be very tough because there's a lot of valves that are covered up.
Mm-hmm.
There's valves that need to be, boxes that need to be raised. Valves could be broken. So Danny and the guy said, can you please let us finish the fire hydrant maintenance? And then we work on the valve. I said, you know what, that's why we're a team, so.
Okay.
Moving on to the projects. The only big change up to this point is our Flint River Waterline project. We put the contractor on a notice that we're expecting to have the project wrapped up by the end of this week. Things are kind of dragging on and the punch list is taking a little too long. So if it's not done by the end of this week, we're gonna have a conversation to say, you know, we'll finish it at our own cost, and we'll just reduce the amount on the contract by what we think it'll take. So, more next month.
So the contractor's not getting the job done is what I just heard.
Correct. He's got it to a point, and it's the traditional, the last 5% is the hardest thing to clear out, where, I mean, at this point, the only thing left in the contract is roughly retainage, which is pretty substantial. But they're saying that they don't have adequate staff. Well, that's
Join
not
the
gonna work for
club.
us. Yeah, this project's taking a little too long. It was, substantial completion was supposed to be November of last year. I think we've been more than gracious.
Have we got all the money from the DOT yet?
No, because I'm waiting on the final closeout documents so we can get the final reimbursement. Remember, we've gotten up to this point roughly $150,000 of a total $400,000. So we're still owed a pretty substantial amount of money from DOT.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh. Let's slide that back a little bit. So, like, if the contractor does not have this completed by this week, what are our options gonna be?
We told them that we were gonna reduce the contract amount by $10,000 because there's surveying as-built that need to be performed. There's some stumps that need to be taken out, some reseeding of pasture property. So we equated it to about roughly 10 grand worth of work. So we were gonna reduce his contract by $10,000, go ahead and get final contract pay request in, where we can go ahead and pay him, submit it to GDOT for reimbursement, and then our staff says we can have it done in about a little over a day. It's a day's worth of work.
What's the retainage that's left?
It'd be 5% of the total project, so 20, 30 grand.
I'd say Plan B's better than Plan A.
Yeah.
I mean,
$10,000
we put them
for
on
one day
notice
work.
that this project was supposed to be really closed out before it's kind of bled into the new FY, fiscal year '24, and you'll actually see the impacts to the budget when the financials are presented by Ms. Erica. But enough's enough.
Yeah.
And then another thing, the FY '24 CDBG grant application, we're gonna be talking about this in the general manager's comments, but we did meet with Alan Smith last week, and they wanted an update on kind of where we were at. So we told them that our plan is to have the surveys completed by the end of July at all the target areas, so they can get involved, do the assessment, and then bring it back to the board on which they think is the best application to put forth that's most competitive. So that's about all I have for the general manager's report.
Do we have a bid list of approved bidders to bid on our projects? How do we handle that? In
So-
other words, do we want this contractor to be able to bid on our future work if he can't complete the job we gave him?
We had told him if he responds, if he bids on another project, I can in good faith recommend him as a responsive bidder.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the general manager's report.
Got a motion? Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? I think you raised his yes. All opposed? Unanimous. Let's circle back to the financial
Financial.
report. Consider acceptance of the financial report period ended April 30th, 2024, as presented by the Director of Accounting and Finance, Erica Dye.
Good morning.
Good morning. I apologize for my tardiness. I had to take a business call. For the month ending on April 30th, 2024, Water Authority revenues are $8,013,845 compared to expenses of $9,178,741. The expenditure totals include $1.1 million for water line relocations, which are unbudgeted expenditures for FY '24. The cash account for the Water Authority has a balance of $2.9 million. The money market investment accounts at United Bank total $11,503,241. The depreciation reserve balance remains at $777,860. And the 2015 bond sinking fund also remains the same at $1,091,075. The total deficiency of revenue for the month end is $683,301. If you have any questions, please direct them to your general manager, Joseph.
Can you go back just a page? I want to ask you, what, the bond money from 2015, which bond was that? Was that refinancing what we had?
Yes. That was refinancing the 2008 bond.
And that's for how many years?
We end,
20.
it was a 20-year, and we're roughly, I think we have 6 years left.
Till March 2029.
Yeah.
I'll be in a nursing home then.
And at this point, we're going to be spending roughly $1 million a year in principal and interest.
That's correct.
Over the remaining term.
Okay.
The DOT owes us,
The DOT owes us a total of roughly $400,000. Remember,
so we're in the whole 283 basically. Is that what I'm hearing?
We have received one DOT reimbursement back in February, and that was for $151,000 that we actually applied back to the water line relocation account.
so we're going to get the remainder. But remember, we received a check or an invoice from GDOT for the Jordan Hill Bridge waterline relocation that was done in 2021. That was finally closed out, and that check that we cut them was $474,000. Then the waterline relocation for Flint River was supposed to be completed in FY '23 that rolled into FY '24. So that's the reason why our budget's taking a hit.
Question for you, Mr. General Manager. Do we need almost $3 million retained in an operating fund?
I don't really know how to answer that question.
The better question would be, how many days of operation is that amount of money for me? That would be my question.
Well, our historical expenditure per calendar day is roughly, we're anywhere between $25,000 to $30,000 a day. So at the last iteration that I did, we have roughly
270 something?
200 and, in the mid 200 day just in our cash account with our operating and the money market accounts at United Bank. Held in reserve. If you look at our entire cash balance, we're almost 700 days.
Okay, but I'm just in terms of talking about the operating account, because I'm thinking operating account means, you know, if everything else stops, you can run the business this
Correct.
many days based on that.
Well, I'll say, in FY '25, you remember, we are budgeting roughly $987,000 of water authority funds just to spend the $2.9 million in ARPA funds. So if we do actually spend every dollar that we budgeted in our sewer budget, I mean, that $2.9 million is gonna be closer to a little south of $2 million. And our expenditures, historically, we've been, this year, we've been receiving more in revenue than we do in expenditures. But one thing I've actually seen is the outstanding debt has actually increased from our customers that haven't paid, that aren't paying their bills. Historically, we've been around $2,200 to $2,300 a month. Now we're almost up to $4,000 a month in outstanding debt.
Inflation and economy's hitting them. So what I'm hearing is probably the 2.9 million in the operating account is not a bad number. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not a finance person, so I would have to defer to somebody a little more educated in cash flow analysis, but just on my back of the napkin stuff that I'm running, I definitely think it's over. We have more money than we need in the operating account. I just don't know what that dollar value is that we need to hold.
It looks like it equates to about 100 days or more. of
Let's roll
operating
it through the
expenses.
finance committee and y'all figure out. Okay, what you think we should have?
And you may want to reassess that once the FY '25 budget has been approved and it's in the system, and then you'll get a better account as far as every expense that you have, payroll, the water line relocations and things such as that, so you'll have a better idea as far as what you actually
That's a good
need
suggestion.
for the operating account.
Yeah, let's just roll it through the finance committee and y'all, because if we're at 230 days, that seems a bit long to me too.
Joseph, did I hear you say that,
Just operating.
Yeah.
reducing the ARPA funds is gonna reduce the operating fund by $900,000? Is the ARPA fund money in this operating fund?
No,
It's separate.
it's still in the county's account.
It's in an investment account currently at Truist, drawing interest.
It doesn't show up on our financial report.
No, sir, it
shows up
doesn't.
on the county.
Correct.
So in effect, the money's still in the counties.
It's in a county account, yes, sir.
And who's collecting the interest?
Did I make a motion to accept?
Truist, we have it at Truist Bank. It's in a totally separate account by
Right,
itself.
But I mean, is the interest it's generating going to the county or the board authority?
As of right now, that hasn't been decided.
Okay,
That's coming up here shortly.
okay,
Mr. Chairman,
thank you.
I'm going to move that we accept the financial report as presented.
All right, we got a motion, second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the general manager, old business. Consider lifting from the table and approving the revised legal services agreement between the authority and Beck, Owen, and Murray.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we lift this item from the table for consideration.
Got a motion? Second? Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? All right. Let's discuss it. Just so everybody knows, when we got this, I sent it over to our conflict attorney, because just signing a contract for me to one attorney without having another attorney look at it, I figured Stephanie would be proud of me for doing that. But they went back and forth on it, so what you have is the final document.
And, Mr. Attorney, you all in favor of the wording?
I've signed it, yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the revised legal service agreement between our authority and Beck, Owen, and Murray.
Second. Motion in the second. Any further discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. What are the actual revisions?
And that's what I'd like to know.
Because, I mean, I don't know, I guess I overlooked that. I didn't see the contract in there, so I really,
I'm gonna
The
defer.
only-
It was wording,
Yeah.
legalese. I'll let Stephanie explain that.
So the only revision that's really of note, that's more than just a couple of semantical things, was the addition of a potential conflicts of interest paragraph. And so that's the last paragraph in the document that talks about who Beck, Owen, and Murray represents, that where there might be a conflict, how the authority has hired a conflict attorney, and how, if a conflict arises according to the Georgia Rules of Professional Conduct, that I would present that to you and ask for a waiver such that I would be able to represent, and in most cases, it's going to be Spalding County and the Board of Commissioners.
So it just better defines when you have to step
Yes.
aside.
Yes.
It also, it's a pay-as-you-go, I think was the term I heard. Is that correct? correct?
Yes.
It basically sets out the rate, increases to the rate, things like that.
Did
And
the
that
rate
was all,
change?
that was in there.
Did the rate change?
No.
Did the rate change?
What,
It
yeah,
did
what
not.
page was the rate on?
It is,
I think it's the first.
That's like
Second.
an every other year rate increase?
it is, it's on page
possibility?
2. It's the, first full paragraph on page 2.
$250 per hour and a paralegal at the rate of $100 per hour. Rate increases of $25 per hour for all of the aforementioned rates on January 1st of every year, beginning January 1st of 2025.
Every other year.
So what was the
Every
rate
other
we
year,
were being
excuse me.
charged before?
175?
You have been at 250 actually for several months
Correct.
now.
Yes.
But it was 175 for years before that.
How long have we been at 250?
At the beginning of the year?
Beginning of the year, yeah,
So it's no increase from what we currently are.
that's correct.
Is that reflected in your budget?
Yes, yes, sir. And since it's been pay-as-you-go, we've always, we've carried forward, say, a block of money, and I don't, this year we may exhaust that fund because of the
Conflict attorney.
conflict attorney and the IGA discussion, but historically, we haven't spent that entire amount.
How much does a conflict attorney charge, Mr. Chairman?
450.
Is it 450 or 475?
I think it's 450.
450,
Pay as you go?
yeah.
So, yeah,
As needed
I
kind of
totally
thing.
don't like that.
You approved it.
Yeah, we approved all this, I mean,
Okay, yeah, I know, I'm talking about paying a conflict attorney $450 an hour.
we approved that too.
Oh, yeah, we might need to back up on that one then. And my concern is the same as Cal's. When will we be able to go back and look at, this is what we were paying for legal expenses, and now that we have a conflict attorney, how much more is it gonna be? And is that really gonna be something that is feasible to us, in terms of, like, I don't know, already I can think of maybe once or twice, we've already had to consult a conflict attorney for different things. So that's an expense that we have not really had before, or didn't recognize that
The IGA
we.
agreement cost us about $15,000, and when we originally brought it up, we was thinking it was gonna be $25,000.
And once the issue with Minerva and the IGA are done, there won't be a whole lot of need for the conflict attorney. And actually, this authority has hired outside counsel on numerous occasions. King and Spalding at about $1,000 an hour is my recollection of when Chairman Lamb was here.
But we've hired them for doing the bond.
And other things as well,
Yeah,
including the
those
water
things are-
contract. King and Spalding reviewed and revised the water contract as well.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion in a second.
Motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Unanimous?
Welcome back, Stephanie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Yes,
Next item, we move to old business, right?
the new amendment.
Next item on old business is the
Approve.
service delivery strategy amendment and, recommendation for our general manager to send it to the Board of Commissioners.
So what you're looking at is the same map that was presented back during the service delivery strategy or the service delivery update. The only difference in the map is our water authority, our service area is actually shown reflected in the legend.
We had to put our name on it.
So that's, the map is identical, it just has our name in the legend. Because when we submitted, when we talked to DCA regarding our project, they looked at the service delivery map that was on file, and they were like, well, your name showed up in the old one, but it doesn't show up in the new one. And we said, okay.
So it still showed at Spalding County as opposed to the Water Authority, right?
No, it didn't even reflect anything.
Didn't even have theirs?
Correct. So, we worked with the city, with Brandon, we got the map updated to reflect our service area, And this is what needs to go to the Board of Commissioners for approval. Because this is, DCA wouldn't accept our CDBG grant without this amendment plus the intergovernment agreement that we're gonna need to get with the city regarding service area.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve this revised SDS and send it to the Board of Commissioners for their approval.
We got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Comment.
Yeah.
Should we not reflect the Hillwood encroachment on this map?
This is sewer. And we're not giving up the service area permanently. Technically, based on the IGA the document that we're waiting for the Board of Commissioners to approve, if that development's not built within 5 years, it comes back before us and we say, if we have sewer, it's gonna be our service area. So if we reflect that on this map, that would, in essence, be
It could
us
change.
acknowledging that we're giving up that service area and we're not gonna do that.
So you're taking back the sewer in those developments that are already there, already connected to Butts County.
There are no developments that are connected to Butts
In
County
fact,
right
that
now.
would-
There's no sewer there, just water.
So the Hillwood development has not been built yet.
Maybe I got the wrong name.
You're thinking River Park.
River Park.
Across the interstate?
No, not really. I'm thinking Hillwood, where we gave up the service area temporarily, or service area for those developments going in up there.
Correct, but nothing has
That is
been,
Hillwood.
nothing has been developed yet. They're still working through they got rezoning, but they haven't put forth any plans for construction plans or anything like that.
But they are planning to put sewer up there,
Yes,
Butts County.
correct.
When we did that, I remember I made that motion and we said we will not give up our service delivery area, but we will allow them to hook up to Butts County sewer as an
And
exception,
water.
but we did not give up our service deliveries.
But when that, let's just say that happens before we have sewer and water sewer up there, are we gonna reimburse them for the lines that they put in, or just claim them back, or what?
No, so.
Is there an agreement with Butts County on that?
So what would happen is, if the fact that we're not giving up the service area, if that development ever changes and someone comes in and actually reconfigures the buildings, and we have service, we can provide the service at that time, both water and sewer, we would then now have the ability to bring that back. But if we give them the service area, we're never getting it back.
Yeah, this is a corner of one building.
Right, I
This
understand.
isn't even a whole building we're talking about.
But somebody's gonna run lines up there, Mr.
Mhm.
Chairman, correct?
Yeah. And we authorize them service without giving up the service delivery.
To do
But
that.
we're awaiting the county's agreement with the Butts County and others how to handle this. So that's an ongoing project that is in Mr. Ledbetter's hands, all right?
So, Mr. Chairman, I do have a question. So this map says Spalding County sewer service areas. Does this match our water service area?
No.
And so my concern would be, and I think I mentioned this to Steve, or I may have mentioned it to you, that part of, and maybe it's an IGA, part of the agreement for the airport was that the city would be able to annex the airport into the city, the property that's in the county. But the water authority, and then on the assumption that they're gonna still be able to provide sewer and water to the area. We, as an authority, never said whether or not we were allowing them to make that their service area, or that we were giving up our service area. The expectation, if I remember correctly, is that there's not gonna be a huge number of sewer usage in the new airport because it's hangars and maybe a couple of people with a building or whatever. But it just concerns me that at that point, as a county, we made the decision with the city that they could be annexed, which the whole gist of that was so that they would be able to provide the utilities. Well, electricity is fine, but the water services actually belong to us, and the county, I don't think, had a right to give that to the city. Now, I'm not saying as an authority that maybe we should go back and take it back, but I think that officially, we should be the ones that says to them, you can provide water in this area, and whether or not we actually give up our service area, because we haven't.
Well, there's not an airport yet, and you're correct, the county couldn't give away our.
Oh, we did.
our stuff. Well, it may think
I mean, we
did.
tried to.
Well,
Just
the,
because you said something doesn't mean it actually happened, though.
the agreement signed was that the city would annex the airport so it's connected and furnish the streets and utilities and everything. And at that time, the county was happy that somebody else was gonna pay all the bills.
No, I understand, but to her point, it wasn't theirs to give, it wasn't the county's to give away.
So I just think that we need to have a conversation about it. I don't know if that's planning or whatever, but, and not to say we should go back and say to them, you can't, but I think there needs to be something that says the water authority either is going to allow you to use this without us giving up our service area, or we're gonna, you know, whatever it is,
We'd
it
have
should
to
come
go-
from us.
We'd have to go back and make sure a previous board didn't agree to it first.
Okay, I can assure you that the previous board didn't agree to it.
There's some things that we've already found previous boards did agree to.
Well, I mean, I have no doubt about that because the previous boards were not really engaged. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just simply saying, as this goes forward, these are things that we need to look for, that when the authority was out of our control, that may have actually happened.
Sure.
I mean, maybe there's minutes somewhere that says that happened, but I don't recall as a member of the water authority that we did that.
Well, right now, we have to update this map, and the airport doesn't exist.
Okay, the blue area on this map that is adjacent to the city of Griffin Highland Mills, where is that area?
Right there in the middle.
Uh-huh, little blue spot next to the pink.
So we kept that service area carved out in the event that we wanted to continue doing the CDBG in the Dundee Mills area, because if we gave that service area to the city, the county would not have the ability to go do a CDBG. It would be at the sole discretion of the city.
Is that the entire Highland Mills area or the area we have not already sewered?
It's the area that we have not already sewered.
So, but we turned that service area that
Correct.
we,
That is
over to the
pink.
city?
That is the pink. Everything that we gave them when we decommissioned the plant
Is the pink?
is reflected in pink, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I need to ask a question.
Okay.
Why would we consider doing another community development block grant right there, only to give it to the city of Griffin?
Well, community development block grants are a county function, and if the county wanted to revitalize that area and increase the public health aspect, that's the reason why we kept it. If the water authority wants to just give up
And
that,
that property's in the county, outside the city.
Mhm.
So it's county,
it's county property.
Who would put the matching funds in?
It would be the water authority.
Okay, so I'm back to my original question. Why would we do a community development block grant only to turn it back over to the city of Griffin? Why would we spend the money? What's the benefit to us?
Well, we put money in CDBG 1 and 2
I know.
and gave it over to the city.
Our benefit then was to get rid of a sewer plant, which cost us $1 million a year.
Correct. We discussed this area being carved out
Mhm.
specifically for the ability, if the county ever wanted to do another CDBG grant, if it's the will of the authority, we can, at the next time this map is updated, we can just give that service area over to the city, and we don't need to worry about surveying Dundee phase, or the phase 3 of Dundee.
I think that's a greater community question than this board, because the board of commissioners are involved in what happens up there and whether they want to see this. So there's a whole discussion around that that's not just ours.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I
other
don't-
than we're writing a check, that's the.
Well, and I don't think that it was the Board of Commissioners' decision to provide, you know, to make any decision about us decommissioning that plant and trying to provide sewer for the people that were connected to the plant.
No, they didn't, but what I'm saying is, if you arbitrarily just want to cut those folks off, even though they're county citizens, without any consideration. This leaves it open, so when that decision comes up, you know, you don't have to do it, but it gives the option, so I don't think you need to throw these folks to the wolves just arbitrarily. There's a bigger discussion there.
Yeah, but I have not saying that the city would never revitalize this area, but until the sewer in the Highland Mills is all PVC. It's not clay, it's not ductile. So that infrastructure is gonna last a long time. And remember, when the Water Authority gave that Highland Mills sewer area to the city, we inspected it, we cambered it, we pressure tested it, we cleaned it. So that system is up to standard. If the Water Authority gave up that service area, the remaining service area, to the city of Griffin, you remember Griffin's standpoint has always been, we're not gonna spend city of Griffin dollars that don't impact city of Griffin residents. That being in the county, I don't know if the city would ever, when the CDBG would ever happen there.
Well, the point of the question, that's to me, a discussion for another day, but right now we have to approve this.
Correct.
Yeah, this is on the timeline, if we
to-
want to do any.
If we want to do any CDBG grants, it's got to be approved, so.
Okay.
I think I have a motion, second on the floor, do I not,
You do,
to approve this, or to send it to the Board of
you
Commissioners?
do. You
Mr.
made
Chairman,
that
does the
motion.
legend need to show our whole name?
I'll leave that up to the attorneys.
No, I think we're fine.
She thinks we're fine. We'd have to make the legend bigger.
Just asking.
It identifies who we are appropriately.
I just wanted to say.
All right, I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? Unanimous. All right, moving on to new business. Consider approval of RFP 2024-022 Progressive Design Build Contracts.
I have to say that I think that Joseph and the related staff have all gotten us a great contract and a great contractor, so I feel really good about who was chosen and what they've offered.
And I congratulate you and your staff on going back to that particular firm and getting a reduction in phase one. Well done.
Well done.
That made it an easy choice.
Yes, and so for the purposes of discussion, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the RFP 2024-022 Progressive Design Build Contract.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Joseph, will you take us through it real quick?
Sure will. So
Everybody's up to speed.
the contract for phase one is going to hang around the base scenario. So you remember the feasibility study showed sewer infrastructure starting at the Spalding Butts line and basically meandering along 16 and going towards the Lakes of Green Valley. Well, and then subsequently it was a little north serving the Wallace Road. But we're staying south of 16 for this project. But the base scenario is if you travel 16 and you know where you cross the Cabin Creek tributary, it's basically starting at that point, south of 16, and then meandering for roughly 15,000 feet and a wastewater plant. The wastewater plant's 100,000 gallons a day that we're estimating. And in the phase one scope, it's going to give us a 60% design. And the 60%, don't hang your hat on that number. That's just a approximate value of the design that's necessary for the contractor to fully understand what their responsibilities are to give us a guaranteed maximum price in the phase two negotiation that we're gonna get into sometime around August, September of this year. So, that's that's about it in a nutshell. It's roughly 15,500 feet of, right now, we're saying 8-inch gravity sewer, 100,000 gallon a day plant, with the understanding that if we need, say, that 15,500 feet and the plant's not gonna obligate the whole $3 million roughly, we have the ability to go into phase 2 and phase 3 of the study.
So phase one, I think put simply, is a very specific design so that the contractors know what to bid on for the actual construction.
That's right, and our thought process is, as soon as we have infrastructure available, it's easier to make a developer's, it's easier for us to tell the developer, if you want to service your project, you go take it to this spot that we already have installed. That's a little easier to swallow than we say, hey, you're expected to tie in and build infrastructure when we don't even know where we're starting and stopping.
Would you give this board
Gravity
some,
lines?
would you give this board some full numbers, how much, what was the bid for phase one and the percentage for phase two?
So, you want the original?
No,
Or the-
no, I want the revised.
Okay, so the revised
real
number's
number.
$831,132.50,
And that was down from what, I forgot.
around 1.1 million.
A little over 1.1.
Yep. So it's about a 24% reduction in cost. And then the phase 2 is a premium of 9% of the construction cost. So, yeah,
That's pretty good.
yes.
That's really good, I'd say.
Just mine?
Well, that
9% of the
1.1
construction
down to
cost. So they take
831
the
by
construction cost and add 9% to it.
negotiating was, to me, a great move.
Yeah, what we found were there were, in the differences between the proposals, you had some people that put a smaller price tag on the initial phase 1, because they knew the construction was gonna be a lot more, so they would weight it more towards the construction phase. But the team that we have, I believe, is giving us a fair number,
It's all gonna be gravity, 15,000 feet straight gravity.
straight gravity.
Did you say this was gonna be on the south side of 16?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why I was thinking it was on the north side.
No, ma'am.
You're going to the interstate side.
The water lines are on the north side.
The water line stops, no, it's on the south side, and it stops right about 2,000 feet east of High Falls Road.
There is a line that goes north and around, it comes out over there, but it doesn't go out 16. And back when we looked at this thing, whenever.
Yeah, there's a water line on
there's a need
Tomachiche.
a- Probably gonna need a larger
need a
water
water line
line
on the
straight
south
out
side.
there to handle all the new stuff.
Yeah, there's gonna need to be a water line on the south.
Yeah. What we have is not adequate. It doesn't go out 16.
Is the planning committee got that on their radar?
What's that?
Does the planning committee have that on the radar?
Months and months ago, it needs to come back. But until we had sewer and development, we didn't know what to even plan for. So now I think we're getting closer to knowing what to plan for.
It's almost gotta go hand in hand.
There will be a water line function that would be brought into the the wastewater plant, but there's two ways to look at it. There's water on Bailey Jester that, to satisfy the, that stops just south of the Pine Ridge landfill. That water line could be extended to serve our, to serve a future plant, and keep us from extending a 12-inch water main roughly 3.5 miles, because that's gonna be pretty expensive.
But we know that the development up there is gonna take more water at some point, so yes. It's on the radar, but it hasn't been close enough target to worry about it yet, but I think that day's coming.
Yeah, if the sewer's all on the south side, that's where the development's gonna go.
That's absolutely right.
And the thought process of the board up to this point is, as developers develop out, they would, we would require the water authority staff during the plan review process, they would be responsible for extending that 12-inch main along the frontage of their property. One developer that we're talking with right now is gonna have to extend roughly the main about 1,000 feet. So But, I mean, it's, we would be at the mercy of development as it develops out.
What is that main up to, how far is that?
It's a 12-inch, yes, sir.
Then I think it drops to an 8-inch around the big,
Yeah, so Tomachichi is an 8-inch, and then the main that serves the Dollar General is an 8-inch line. So
8 inches is what you need for fire protection, right? Or is it 6?
8 inch is the minimum pipe size that we should allow in our distribution system.
so the planning committee was with you, we understand.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
What was the motion?
To approve the contract.
Okay.
All right, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? Charlie? I'm abstaining for the same reason as last time.
Okay.
Well done, very well done, Joseph.
All right, moving on to other business. The next regular scheduled meeting will be held Thursday, June 20th, Thursday, June 20th,
Did we miss something? Oh, no. Okay, I'm sorry.
at 8:30 a.m. in the courthouse annex meeting room. Thursday, June
Thursday?
20th, not Wednesday, Thursday,
Not-
June 20th.
Wednesday,
Why are we changing it?
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth on Wednesday.
Because you will be standing in the parking lot if you come on Wednesday.
Okay.
Moving on to secretary treasurer comments.
So at the last meeting, I said I would update on the new CD rate that we locked in. So we had our first CD matured at $250,000, so we reinvested it based on the finance committee's recommendation of the best rate at a 12-month CD or less, and we locked in at 5.1%. So rates are still holding steady.
Moving on to general manager comments.
So one thing that I'll be bringing to the Finance Committee is the pay study that the county conducted and the impacts to our FY25 budget. We're still waiting on the final numbers as related to retirement contribution and the insurance, because we're hearing that the rate that we put in the budget actually is not necessary. We're going to be able to reduce it a little bit. So that'll come to the Finance Committee. The GIS manager interviews start Friday. We have 6 interviews or applicants we're going to interview over the course of Friday and next Monday. We're really excited about the applicant pool. They're very talented. And then the Water Authority applied for a GFA grant back at the end of last year because we wanted to get reimbursement for the 120 water contract that we went into back in 2021 for a total of $96,000 over 3 years. GFA responded to us that said, okay, great, we accept that, and then we're going to raise it to $400,000. So Parker.
When does that happen, huh?
We didn't ask any questions other than, can you send us the final documentation where we can get it to you? So Parker on the 25th of April submitted the official grant application. On the 30th of April, we got the categorical exclusion letter from the state that says that the project that we want to do is not going to have any adverse impact to the environment. And we are waiting the agreement packet to be sent to GFA that's currently en route. So once we get all the signatures on that, we can start drawing down the $400,000. So I remember our finance committee asked, what is the total impact for lead and copper compliance? We're going to have information to present at the next finance committee. So well done, Parker. Thank you, sir.
I love it when you ask for 96 and get 400. This is,
Yeah. Whatever pictures you've got, keep them.
And then the
Brings us back to this.
the CDBG surveys. So we're going to be holding a training session, and Ms. Fanny and Ms. Gwen, since we're going to be using y'all to help do the surveys, We're gonna hold a training session within the next couple of weeks to talk through the questions that need to be asked, to make sure that we're documenting everything. Because the surveys, we're gonna put a deadline July 31st. And that is it.
Authority. Oh, we do have that.
Yes.
Authority member comments, starting with Ms. Fanny.
None.
Cal?
Nope.
Hey,
Negative, sir?
William? Don't want to talk about prescriptions or anything?
No.
Jeff?
I just want to commend the staff for all the hard work they've done, and especially on this RFP document, getting that reduction in cost. It's a
Yep.
great job.
I concur.
We do have some new dashboards in the works. They're not ready for prime time yet, but they're coming. It's gonna give y'all better ideas of where we're at, where we need to be at, to do a lot of the things that we've been talking about. Probably August-ish, maybe they'll be ready. Is that too soon?
Lord willing.
Lord willing, August-ish, they'll be ready, but they are in the works. Outside of that,
Do we need the executive session then?
we do need the executive session, correct?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we move into executive sessions for the items listed on the agenda.
Motion? Second? All in favor? Let's go to executive session.
I'm gonna go. Mr. Chairman, I move we come out of closed session and resume our open session.
Motion. Second. You bring everybody back?
Yeah.
Yep. All in favor, raise your hand.
Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Motion. Second. All in favor, raise your hand.
All in favor, go home.
Meeting adjourned.
Me too, not staying on.
Give Charlie to come and take your ear.
That's the only day, what that week I'm on vacation.
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Hope your life is getting better, not worse. Hope your life is getting better.